We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India.
Hello students, welcome back to .NET programming lecture. Today we will learn procedures and functions. In today's lecture, we'll learn how we can create user-defined procedure and user-defined functions. But before starting our lecture, we should be aware with the concept of procedure and function. What do you mean by procedure? As we have learned in our C programming, we have defined different kinds of user-defined functions. They are having different types. The function with argument, functions without argument, functions with return type, and functions without return type. Okay, so whatever functions we are creating in C programming language using void modifier, they are known as a non-return type of function. Means they are not returning anything. Whereas if we write any specific kind of return modifier like integer, character, float, then we can say they are returning, they must return something before exiting from the function. Similarly, the functions may have different parameters. The functions may have integer parameter, it may have character parameters, different parameters are there. So whatever block of code we are knowing in C programming, the same thing is known as procedure in VB.NET. So first of all, what is procedure? It's a group of statements that together perform a task when they are called. After the procedure is executed, the control returns to the statement calling the procedure. And VB.NET has 2 types of procedures. Number 1, functions. Functions means they are returning something at a time of exiting from the function, whereas sub procedures or subs which do not return anything while exiting from it. Okay, so you need to remember that VB.NET supports 2 types of procedure. The first one is functions and second one is sub procedure. Functions returns a value, whereas subs do not return a value. So let's start in detail. Let's learn in detail what is sub procedure. Sub procedures. Sub procedures are procedures that do not return any value. We have been using the sub procedure main in all our examples. When the application starts, the control goes to the main sub procedure and it in turn runs any other statements consisting the body of the program. The sub statements is used to declare the name, parameter and the body of sub procedure. The syntax for the sub statement is modifiers sub procedure name, parameter list, block of statements and end sub. Over here in syntax, whatever keywords are enclosed with square brackets, they are not compulsory fields. Means you can omit them while defining sub procedures and functions. But it is good practice to provide modifiers. Similarly, in case of parameter, if you don't want to pass any parameter at the time of function or procedure call, you can omit the parameters. Over here you can see modifiers indicates it specify the access level of procedure. Possible values are public, private, protected, friend, protected friend, and information regarding overloading, overriding, sharing and shadowing. Subname indicates the name of subprocedure. Parameter list specifies the list of parameters. The following example demonstrates a subprocedure calculate pay that takes 2 parameters, hours and wages, and displays the total pay of an employee. Over here we have taken a module. If we do not want to create a Windows Form application, then you can create console application too. When you create a console application, at that time you do not have any kind of graphical user interface. where you need to write down your VB.NET code in module. So over here, I have taken an example for the console application. So that is why it is a module. The name of my module is MySub. Module MySub, and it ends with end module. This is the keyword. End module indicates that this is the end of existing module. In my MySub module, I have defined two methods. The first one is sub calculate pay, which is user defined procedure, and the sub main, which is our main method from which the execution will get started. So let's understand. Sub calculate pay. Calculate pay is the name of procedure. Over here, in functions or in procedures, you can pass the argument in two ways, either by value or by reference. Over here, in this example, I have passed the arguments as value. As you know, in C programming also, we can pass the argument in two ways. The first one is by val and second one is by reference. The difference is quite familiar to us. If we pass the parameter by value, then it will create a duplicate copy of variable. If we pass the argument by reference, then it will not create the duplicate copy of variable. Rather, it processes the same variable. The advantage of by val and by ref is that we can directly operate upon the common variable, and as a result, we can have the effect of modified, or you can say the processed variable at outside the function also. So this statement indicates the single quote local variable declaration. This statement indicates the comment. As you know, in VB.NET, you can write comment using the single quote. This is the variable declaration dim pay as double. As you can see, I have passed two arguments, by val hours as double, comma by val wage as decimal. Okay, dim pay as double. Pay is equals to hours into wage. Console.writeLine total pay colon in curly bracket 0 comma pay. Over here in curly bracket 0 indicates that this should be replaced by the value stored in variable p. If we are having multiple variables in this statement, at that time we need to write down the index value of corresponding variable. If the pay is the first argument after the comma, then I have to write down curly bracket 0. If after pay there is another variable, then we need to write down in curly bracket 1. Similarly, we can print multiple variables in a single write line statements. And this is the end sub. This is my user defined sub procedure, which returns nothing. It simply processes the data or the arguments passed at a time of function call, at a time of sub procedure call, and process the code block and return back to the main method. Now this is my main method, and from main method I am calling my calculate pay sub procedure. Calculate pay 25 comma 10. So it simply process this sub procedure and display the result 25 into 10 means 250. Similarly, I have called the same procedure 3 times. So I can say by writing this 3 statement, I can execute the same code block with different values as an argument and generate the different results. Okay, so this is what the sub procedure. Moving towards the next concept, that is passing parameters by value in sub procedure. As I told you earlier, we can pass the parameters in sub procedure and function in two ways, either pass by value or pass by reference. So this is the default mechanism for passing parameters to a method. In this mechanism, when a method is called, a new storage location is created for each value parameter. As I told you earlier, if we pass the argument by value, then it will generate a duplicate copy. It will create a new storage location for the duplicate variable. The values of the actual parameters are copied into them. So the changes made to the parameter inside the method have no effect on the argument. In VB.NET, we declare the reference parameter using byval keyword. The following example demonstrates the concept. As you can see, subswap, since this is a program of swapping from which we are quite aware because we are implementing this program since our first semester. Okay, so as you know, the basic problem with the logic of swapping is that when we swap the arguments, the effect of swapping can be captured only inside the function, or you can say the procedure. We cannot get the effect of swapping outside the procedure. So for that, what we have to do, we have to pass those argument by reference so that we can have the effect of swapping outside the sub procedure or functions too, right? So this is what the example of swapping. I have passed two arguments by value, dim temp as integer, temp x. Temp is equals to x, means the value of x has been stored to temp. X is equals to y, then put y into x, y is equals to temp, put temp into y, right? So by this way we have swapped x and y with each other. So this is what the logic of our swapping. Now from main, I have declared two variables in my main method, dim a as integer 100, dim b as integer 200. Now I am swapping those two values, but before swapping those values, those variables, I am printing the values of those two variables, which is obviously 100 and 200. Now if I call this swap function, and after that if I call print the value of variable a and b, at that time I won't get the swapping effect outside the sub procedure swap. Now to resolve this issue, what I have to do, I have to call this x and y as reference. If you want to map the effect of swapping using by value, pass by value, then what you have to do, you have to print the value of x and y inside the sub procedure swap, right? But again I told you that it won't affect the variables available in main method, right? Now the next concept is passing parameters by reference in sub procedure. A reference parameter is a reference to a memory location of variable. When you pass parameters by reference, unlike value parameters, a new storage location is not created for these parameters. The reference parameters represent the same memory location. It means there is no memory wastage, there is no memory duplication, as the actual parameter that are supplied to the method. In VB.NET, you declare the reference parameters using the by ref keyword. The following example demonstrates. Again, I have written the same procedure, but the only difference is that instead of by val, I have written by ref. Whatever example we have seen earlier, instead of writing by val, instead of passing arguments by value, now I am passing the arguments as a reference, right? Rest of the things will be same. Now, till now, the output will remain same. Till this statement, the output will remain same. But after the calling of swap function, the value of a and b will get swapped with each other, because now I have processed the data through pass by reference. So whatever changes takes place, that they takes place on the corresponding memory locations of a and b. That is the advantage of passing argument by reference. Okay, I hope now it is clear what is the meaning of pass by value and pass by reference. Now moving towards the next concept, that is a function. As I told you, function is something similar to our return type of function in C program, right? It must return something. The function statement is used to declare the name, parameter and the body of a function. The syntax for the function name is again modifiers, function keyword, function name, parameter list as return type. we need to always remember while declaring a function, it is necessary to provide the return type. Okay. Again, collection of statements and AND function indicates the scope of the function. Where modifiers specifies the access level of the function. Possible values are public, private, protected, friend, and information regarding overloading, overriding, sharing, and shadowing. Function name indicates the name of the function. Parameter list specifies the list of parameters, and return type specifies the data type of variable the function returns. The following codes explains the find max that takes two integer values and returns the larger of the two. This logic is also quite familiar to us. Function find max, obviously it returns the maximum number from these two arguments. I'm passing the value by reference, by value. So I've written by val number 1 as integer, by val number 2 as integer, and I'm returning what is the return type of this function, obviously an integer, so I have written as integer at the end. Dim result as integer. If num1 is greater than num2, then result is equals to num1, else result equals to num2. And if find max equals to result. Say, one thing we need to remember over here, if we are not writing return statement at the end of function, what can happen? If you assign the value to be returned in a same kind of variable, or you can say in the same name as the name of your function, then you don't need to write a return statement. Over here in this example, I have not returned statement. Instead of that, I have assigned my result into the variable name similar to my function name. That is why I have not returned a return statement. Okay, but if you want to write, you can simply write return result. They both will be same. Okay. Function returning value. In VB.NET, a function can return a value to the calling code in two ways, by using the return statement and by assigning the value to the function name. The following example demonstrated using the findMax function. Okay. As you can see, this is the same logic we have understood above, but over here I have written this code along with the main method, right? So it is 100 and 200. Result equals, now it is returning something. So it is necessary for me to write down something before the find max, to write down equal to and variable name before calling the function. That is why whatever value find max AB returns, that will be stored to RES, and later on we can process the RES as per the requirement. So this is what the basic example of function. Now next concept is recursive function. A function, as we know, recursion means a function calls itself. A function can call itself, that is known as a recursion. Following is an example that calculates factorial for a given number using a recursive function. As we know that finding out the factorial is quite common example to understand the recursion. So module my functions, function factorial, by val num as integer, and the return type of function is also an integer. Dim result as integer. If number equals to 1, then return 1, else result equals to, again I am calling the same function from inside the function, factorial num minus 1 into now. This is something similar to n, fact of n is equals to fact of n minus 1 into n. Okay, and at last I am writing return result. Okay, now here you can see I have called factorial function with 3 different arguments, factorial 6, factorial 7 and factorial 8. I hope the recursive functions are now clear to everybody. Now next one is param array. See, this concept is quite new to us because till now in C programming such kind of concepts were not there. Okay, what is basically param array? See, it may happen that in some cases we are not sure that how many parameters we require or how many parameters we wants to pass to functions or sub procedures. At that time, this param arrays can be utilized. But the only disadvantage with param arrays is that it can have similar kind of data type as a parameter array. That is the only disadvantage, right? But apart from that, you can use it significantly, right? When you in case of multiple selection kind of application, MCQ kind of application, when we are selecting multiple similar type of data, and if we want to process them, at that time we can use it, right? So param array, while declaring a function or sub procedure, we are not sure of the number of arguments passed as a parameter. VB.NET param arrays comes into help at this time. The following example demonstrates this. Module myParamFunc. Function add elements. This is the name of the function. Param array. This is the keywords which is necessary to mention in function definition if we are defining our functions as param arrays. So this is the keyword param array, then the name of the array, as, and the return type. As I told you earlier, it accepts the data as an array, right? So we need to mention array over here as integer, dim sum as integer equals to 0, dim I as integer equals to 0. It is not necessary. If we write only dim I as integer, then also it will be initialized to 0, because in VB.NET integer kind of variable is initialized with 0. Next is for each loop. As I told you in earlier lecture, for each loop is specially designed for array kind of concept. So it will process each and every element of specified array. So what I am doing, whatever parameters I am getting as an argument, I will sum them up together and returns the sum. So this is what the basic logic, simple fundamental of this particular add elements function. Now next, how I am passing, or you can say how I am calling add elements function. Dim sum as integer, sum equals to add elements. See, over here you can see I have passed different numeric data as an individual element instead of passing them as an array, right? This is the charm of param array concept, right? I can do the same thing by declaring an array, but it may waste my memory. Okay, so to resolve such kind of issues, VB.NET supports param array concept. So if you want to pass 10 elements, then also you can pass by this way. But the only thing we need to remember is it can accept only integer kind of data, because in function definition I have specified integer array, right? So at the time of function execution, it will take all the elements as the member of this array. Fine. And now at last I'm getting the sum and I'm printing that sum using console.writeLine. I hope now the concept of param array is clear. Now the next concept is passing arrays as function. We can pass an array as a function argument in VB.NET. In case of matrix multiplication, matrix addition, matrix summation, we may have passed the two-dimensional arrays into the function in C programming. The same thing we can do over here, right? Module array parameter function get average, byval array as integer, byval size as integer, dim I as integer. This is my array and this is my single value variable. Dim average as double, dim sum as integer. For I equals to 0 to size minus 1. Sum plus equals to array of I. What it does, it does the summation of all the elements available in ARR, array, right? And at last, I'm doing the average of that sum and returning the sum. That's it. Fine. As you can see over here, while calling the function, I'm not passing the elements of array as individual element. Whatever thing we have done in case of param arrays over here, right? Instead of this, I'm passing an entire array in this concept. As you can see, I have declared an array called balance, which contains 5 elements, and at the time of function call, and of course it is a function, so obviously it will return something. So get average, this is my array as I told you earlier, and this is the single value 5 constant, right? And it will return me the average by processing this 2 data, and at the end we are printing the average variable. So that's it from my side. Today we have learned functions and sub procedures. Thank you. Thanks for watching.